A while back, I had no friends. I used to be the kid who was literally completely alone. I was like the class clown in school, and there was some people that would like laugh at my jokes, but in terms of actually having people that I would go and do stuff with, I had none of that. I always felt so alone. My life was pretty much just get up, watch some YouTube videos, get on the bus, go to school, take the bus home, and then once I would get home, I would just cry and play video games. And I used to think that this was the worst possible existence. I would see literally all the people around me, and I just wished I was everyone else. I didn't wish that I was myself. Because seeing everyone else and seeing all the people going out with their friends and doing stuff, it just made me feel alone. And now what I'm starting to realize as I'm getting older and as I'm starting to actually get more friends now, is that all those people that used to be popular, that used to just naturally get friends, are way worse off than where I am right now. Because they didn't have the time of being alone. They didn't have a time where they didn't have other people, where they just had to literally figure out everything on their own. So now they've gotten to a point where they're not working out, they're not reading books, they're not trying to improve themselves, they're not trying to meditate, and in turn their life isn't getting that much better. So I'm making this video because if you're a young man right now and you're alone, I want to tell you it's okay. If anything, you are better off to be the alone loser than the guy who's popular and already has everything that he needs to make friends now. Because in 5 years' time, you're going to be way past that guy. And the reason why is because you have this time where you're alone, right? And that time where there's no one else validating you, there's no one else to waste your time, it's literally just you, is a time where you actually take action and you improve yourself. About a year, what was it? It's like a year or two ago, back when my life, not a year or two ago, that was longer than that, like I think 3 years ago, back when my life was really bad. Like I was literally just waking up, watching TV for 16 to 18 hours a day, being sad. I'd just ride my bike around all sad sometimes, and then just going to bed. And that was the time where my life was my life was super bad at that time. And it took being alone, having no friends. I literally, at that time, I had zero friends. And it took that for me to find the gym and for me to start working out, which was literally the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And I think if I did have friends, if I wasn't alone at that time, bro, I wouldn't be where I am today. Hold on, sorry, I'm just looking at like my notes. But another thing too is social pressure. When you have friends, you have that social pressure to do what everyone else is doing. You don't want to feel like the guy who's like, oh no, I don't want to do the drugs. I don't want to go out and party tonight. You want to be like, okay, all the cool guys are going out. Well, I want to be one of the cool guys. And this is one of those ironic things that you see in the movies and that like your parents tell you about. And like, hey, if someone says you want to go party, you want to go do drugs, don't do it. But if you're one of these kids who's hanging around others, there's going to be social pressure. If you want to fit in with the popular guys, they're going to be like, yeah, let's go do this, let's go do that. Bro, if you're alone, you don't have to deal with that stuff. You don't have to deal with social pressure. If I had friends at the time when I was alone, I probably would have ended up sleeping with loads of degenerate, terrible girls, partying, doing these things that seem all fun and all cool, but don't pay off in any way. People talk about, another side ramble is like, people always talk about just enjoying yourself. Bro, I hate when people say that. Like, there's a difference between enjoying yourself and ruining your life. Enjoying yourself is like taking a girl out on a nice date and having a nice time. That's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that and I'll enjoy myself. But like, like what? Partying, drinking, ruining your brain cells, and people think like, oh, it's so fun. Bro, if you see it in like a movie or something, of course they're gonna make it look fun, but that's not what no one's like dancing, it's just like people sitting around drinking and doing bad habits, scrolling on their phone. Like, it's not what you actually think it is. If you think a party's just this place where there might be some, like, fair enough, but like just some crazy, what's the one movie called where it's like Project X or something and everyone's having an amazing time. Like, that's not really like that. Maybe they think it because they have so much drugs going through their brain that they're like, okay, wow, I'm having so much fun. But I promise you it's not. You avoid all of that social pressure if you don't have many friends or if you're alone right now. Ideally, like, and this isn't to say that you should be alone. Ideally, you should have friends. Ideally, you should have friends who support you, who also hit the gym with you. But you might just not be at a point where people are doing that right now. You might still be at a point where, like, you're younger. Most kids believe this thing of like, just enjoy your youth, so everyone else is just partying. And that time, so my nose is all sniffly, and that time is the time where you're going to make the most progress. You'll realize the times where you don't have anyone else to help you through things is the time where you learn the most. I'm blowing my fucking nose. It's just starting to get cold again. It's like every time it gets cold, my sinuses get bad. If I weren't lonely, I wouldn't be where I am today. I think you kind of get that point by now, but it helped me that much. That's how much of a difference being lonely made. Which is crazy, because it's really not promoted to be alone. Like, in any TV show you see, in any movie you see, everyone just promotes having a bunch of friends, partying, drinking, like, if anything, you're gonna make the most progress when you're just by yourself. You won't have people to distract you. And as I said, like, if you have good friends who also hit the gym and also do that stuff, that's good. And it's not like having bad friends is going to make you somehow not succeed as long as you're doing the things that will make you succeed. But it's going to be a lot harder. Because just being alone, I already mentioned the point, but like, it teaches you a lot. And I think the reason that a lot of people aren't quite where they want to be is because they're scared to be alone. And the reason people are scared to be alone is because they're scared to figure out what's actually going on in their brain. There's a quote that is, I'm paraphrasing this, it's something like, most of man's problems come from his inability to be alone by himself in a room for 30 minutes. It was something like that. That's not the actual quote. And I think an even better quote would be, most of man's problems come from his inability to just be alone by himself with no one around. You'll get to a point where you will start to make friends and you will start to meet good people. And at that point, you shouldn't be like, no, it's better to be alone. I really want you to understand that. I really want you to understand that there's going to be a point where you will meet good people. And there will be times where you meet people and they're also going to be bad. But eventually you'll have to get to a point where you do start to meet people. But like right now, if you're really young, you might just be better off to focus on reading books, meditating, working, doing your schoolwork if you want to get like a really good job, or working on a business. Really, whatever you see your future as, this is the time to work. Being alone will set you up. Well, look, there's two ways you can go. You can be alone and you can be depressed like most people when they're alone, and they can be like, wow, my life sucks. That's where I was. Like, I was there. I'm not making fun of you if you're here right now. I was there. I was alone. I was so depressed. I was like, man, this life just sucks and stuff. Or you can go down the path of being alone and being like, hey, I don't have friends right now, but I don't need them. All I need is to just focus, to just do my work, and to just do the things that you know are right. And if you do that, if you go down that path instead of the path of being depressed, you're going to end up in such a good spot in 2 to 5 years. And I promise you that. Like, I'm just now starting to see the benefits, literally 3 years later, of me being alone and putting in the work 3 years ago. I'm just now starting to go out with girls who are like, way older than me and way hotter than the people I used to talk to. And like, I'm just starting now to like meet good people and people who are giving me good advice on life online and in person. And it literally took me 3 years to get here. It took me the first year of being alone, the second year of being really awkward, the third year of being less awkward, but I was starting to talk to more people. I was starting to go to martial arts. I was starting to really hone in on my social skills and on all my other skills as well. And now I'm starting to get the benefits of that. Now, and I still have so far to go. Like, imagine people, especially us young guys, like to think in such short time frames. But imagine that we say, instead of 3 to 5 years, what about your life in 15 to 20 years? That's going to be way different compared to the guy who was just partying. He'll probably get a mediocre job, go to university, get a little bit of a better job, settle down with some girl, and that's his life. Have some kids, watch movies in the evenings, party on the weekends like most people do, and that's just life. You just accept that. Fair enough, that might be enough for you. But I know if you're probably watching videos like this, that's not enough for you. You look around and you see people doing that, literally everyone doing that. And you just think to yourself, why does no one question this? Why does no one question that this is just the way you live life? You go to school, you get married. No, you go to school, get a good job, get married, have kids, retire, and die. Like, everyone just follows the same pattern, but you're probably one of the ones who are going to be different and who are going to not follow that pattern. I'll see if there's anything else on this list that I haven't mentioned. I think that's mainly it. Just as I said, the people who are popular are low quality. So you don't need that low qualityness. Seems cool to everyone now in your school or something like that. It seems cool, so everyone wants to hang around them, and that's why they're so popular. But as I said, in 3 to 5 years' time, when they're out of that environment and they're actually out there trying to be in the real world, as they always tell you, that's when you start to really succeed. Because they're just starting to get to the point where all those people that used to hang around left them. Now they're not getting the girls anymore because the girls are looking for some guys who can provide for them, and they were just too busy focused on partying. And then that's when you start to see the benefits. Not even 5 years. It's going to take a little bit longer than that, most likely. But that's when you start to see the benefits. You're going to get most of the benefits in like 15 years when you're like 30, depending on how old you are. But you'll start to see, and this is my opinion, just guessing here, just from seeing what 3 years can do. But you start to see those benefits, and then that's when you realize all the work that paid off. But you have to go through the initial 3 to 5 years to get to. Sorry, my fucking nose is like clogged up, which is making me have a lisp. But it's going to take 3 to 5 years to actually get there. The question is just, are you willing to put in the time? You have time. What else are you going to do with it anyway? Just know that if you're alone, there's other people who are alone too. And if you put in the work, it's going to be well worth it in a few years. Go down, click on the subscribe button. If you're new here, my name's Adam. I help young guys live better lives. So if you're young and you want to live a better life, of course, go subscribe, as I said. And also click on the link that says join email newsletter to get advice from me whenever I think it's a good time to give you advice. And you also get a free PDF of 10, I think, most important skills for all young men to learn. It's a really good PDF. I think it will help you guys out a lot. So go check that out. Have a nice day. See ya.